Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Sunday breakdown. It is November 9th, and let's begin. So let's go over the trades that we took last week. First of all, we held this trade over the weekend, could have kept holding it for another 4 days, it seems. We closed on Tuesday, and then we could have held basically till Thursday, but realistically, we probably wouldn't have held past this super big red candle. And if we did hold through the red candle, I think we would have closed on this doji rejection candle because, as you can see, every time a move comes to an end, usually you get a rejection candle that turns price around. Now, it doesn't happen every time. As you can see here, price had a rejection candle and then continued to the downside. But in my opinion, this happened not because there was going to be a reversal, but simply because we hadn't broken through, similar to this, we hadn't broken through the lower low, which was this point right here. So we had a push. This was the pullback. That was the continuation past the lower low. Same thing here. We had a push, pullback. We hadn't broken past the lower low. And then we finally broke past it, had a pullback, had a continuation, pullback, continuation. Now, realistically, we have broken through this lower low, and I do believe that price should have a pullback at some point soon. So, taking a look at, I guess, the higher time frames, we have a lower low being created on the weekly time frame. So we have a weekly lower low, and daily time frame. Daily time frame, we have a new lower low as well. So there's two new lower low structures. So price is basically due for a pullback at some point soon. The next trade we took was AUD USD. This one was taken on Monday, and I held it parallel to NZD USD, and then I closed it because I was afraid we might get a reaction from this area of interest here. As you can see, when we entered, price basically pulled back very aggressively. And I'm pretty sure this was Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so we were in this area right here. We had a pretty strong pullback out of the area of interest. That's when I closed NZD USD to potentially reduce any pullbacks or reversals. And then AUD USD, I decided to basically hold, and I accepted the risk that I took on this trade. We ended up closing at a 1-3. Then price pulled back into the EMA on the 4-hour time frame and had a continuation. Now, it seems like we might be having another pullback. I wouldn't be surprised if price pulled back into the EMA and then had a continuation from there. That would be very nice to see. But yeah, we took that trade as well. And another trade that we took, this was on Thursday, I believe, or maybe Wednesday. Might have been Wednesday. Yeah, so it was Wednesday around the beginning of New York session. And then basically we entered, price pulled back, almost hit our stop loss, but ended up reacting from the daily area of interest and then having a reaction to the downside from the EMA. After that, price basically broke below the EMA, pulled back, news event happened, price pushed down, and then at the end of the week, we just had this weird retracement. Now, in my opinion, I think we're kind of in a similar situation to what happened right here, and what's happened a few times in the past. Basically, when price has a reaction, oftentimes you'll get a pretty swift and aggressive pullback before we have a continuation. So I am still holding this trade, and I'm gonna continue to hold it with the expectation that right now all price is doing is this. We had the reaction, pullback candle, continuation, reaction, pullback candle, continuation. So I don't see any reason why why price wouldn't continue to the downside. In fact, I like the way the weekly candle closed. We closed with a nice doji candle. Now all we need is a wick to the upside this week, and then a continuation candle to the downside after that. So that's what I am expecting from this week. Hopefully we don't get wicked out before that continuation happens. And I don't think we should, because we do have a nice head and shoulders pattern that is setting up here. So now that we've gone over that, let's go ahead and start with the actual breakdown, starting with the other pairs that we have here. First of all, Bitcoin has finally reached the EMA here on the weekly time frame. Now, the weekly time frame is currently bearish. The daily time frame, is currently bearish as well, and the 4-hour time frame is also currently bearish. Nope, the 4-hour time frame has actually shifted bullish already. So we currently have two bearish time frames in sync, but in reality, now that we've reached that weekly EMA, it would be nice to start looking for buys. So technically, we only have one time frame that would be valid to take buys. The other one is all the way up here. Now, one thing to notice is that price is trading underneath this daily EMA quite nicely, and I think that the same thing is going to happen here, basically, where we continue to reject the EMA until it like pulls down into a lower area where price will actually be able to shift above it, retest it, and then buy. So I do think that there might be a few more days of selling, maybe another week or two of selling, or rather not selling, but maybe consolidation, similar to the way it happened over here and over here. And now it's going to happen right here before potentially having the continuation to the upside. So that's what I'll be looking for on Bitcoin. I would probably stay out of it unless you're planning on maybe buying into the EMA, into some of these previous structures. You do have a head and shoulders pattern here. So this neckline would be a good target if you're taking short-term buys. If you're taking a trade on a lower time frame, well, you have your 4-hour time frame in sync, which is bullish above this market structure, or at least above this market structure. And then also you have your, maybe if you're trading the 2-hour time frame, you could wait for price to break above and retest the 2-hour time frame to buy into your 4-hour or daily head and shoulders, which is right here. So there's a few options for Bitcoin, short-term trades, nothing too long-term just yet, until price actually breaks above that daily EMA, and then maybe you can catch some nice buys. Okay, after that is the S&P weekly time frame, bullish. We had the pullback into previous structure. Daily time frame reacted from the daily EMA. Now from here, I do believe we should get a nice continuation. All three of these have now retested previous structures. Weekly time frame bullish, weekly time frame bullish, and weekly time frame bullish, retested previous structure. Daily time frame bullish, daily time frame bullish, and daily time frame bullish. This is as good as it gets realistically for buys, considering how aggressive and how bullish this market has been, or these markets have been. I wouldn't be surprised if price just continued going higher. What I would wait for is for price to actually confirm that it's going to close above, maybe even retest this 4-hour EMA before we take buys. I'm guessing it's the same thing for these two as well. Yeah, so we're currently below the 4-hour EMA. Here we already had a shift of structure. So if we look at the 4-hour time frame, we had the lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and we actually closed above the lower high. So now we're actually bullish. We have a higher high, and this is the higher low. So higher high, higher low. Next, we're waiting for the next higher low, higher high. Okay. Same thing with these ones. 4-hour time frame went bullish, then it went bearish, lower low. We have the elbow right here. So this one is still bearish on the 4-hour. And this one right here is currently bearish on the 4-hour as well. So there's a few extra confirmations you could wait for to be safe. If you're afraid that price might retest the 4-hour EMA and sell, then just wait for a little bit extra confirmation, maybe a day or two into the week, and then you should be able to take some nice buys, depending on how the market opens, obviously. Next is gold. Now, gold is one I'm slightly, what's the word? Slightly, like I'm slightly torn between buys and sells. Obviously, overall price is very bullish. We are having a pullback. Here we're bearish on the daily time frame. I think that's one of the reasons that I'm torn between sells and buys. Overall, we're above the daily EMA. We're bullish on the weekly, all that good stuff. But the fact that this last week we went bearish below this structure point right here, or not last week, I guess. Maybe it's been 2 weeks now. But with this last move, this move is the one that made price go bearish on the daily time frame. After you have a move like this, you usually expect a pullback and then a continuation to the downside. So that is one thing to consider, the fact that we might be setting up with that type of a medium higher time frame bearish trend. Now, in terms of the lower time frames, I am seeing price kind of shifting or creating like bullish market structure, sort of, not exactly, but kind of. Here we broke above this structure point, basically created a higher high, higher low, and now we're on our way to create the next higher high. You can see how this level right here is holding price down. One thing that I was looking at very closely was the way that price was reacting to the 2-hour EMA. And we're currently in an area where price could go either way. So to be safe, I would suggest waiting for price to confirm that the buyers are in control, then wait for a pullback and then a continuation. If not, price could easily come back up to this level and then actually sell very, very aggressively. So that's what I would be basically waiting for. Either confirm that the sellers are in control or confirm that the buyers are in control, either above the 2-hour EMA or below the 2-hour EMA. Dollar index, weekly time frame, bearish. Daily time frame is currently bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So we have two time frames in sync to sell. We just broke below the 4-hour EMA. We are bearish on the 4-hour time frame. So from here, price could just continue to go lower. If we're looking for buys, if you want price to continue to buy, all you have to wait for is price to shift above this structure point, confirm that buyers are in control, retest and continue to buy. If not, just wait for the pullback and continue to sell. All right, now that we're done with those, let's go ahead and do our analysis. So starting on the weekly time frame for all of these, let's get into it. NZD USD, this is one that I enjoy trading, but it is not one that I think will be ready anytime soon. We're basically due for a big daily pullback for a continuation. Not going to be ready anytime soon. AUD USD, same exact thing. Daily pullback for a continuation. Not ready anytime soon. CAD CHF, one that we're currently in right now. Weekly time frame is bearish. We have a bearish doji daily candle or weekly candle. Daily time frame is seeming to have a reaction from a daily area of interest, as well as the daily EMA. Now, let's line up all the CHF pairs next to each other and kind of compare and contrast them. I think that's all. Where's CHF? JPY. There it is. Okay, so not that the CHF JPY will move similarly, but it won't hurt to see it next to all the others. All right, so CAD CHF is having a basically a weekly bearish rejection. NZD CHF already had a weekly bearish continuation. So on this one, no longer interested in trading. We're already breaking through that lower low. Now, this is nice to see because it kind of confirms that we might be seeing sellers entering the CHF market. Euro CHF kind of in a good position to sell as well. I won't lie. Very, very similar to CAD CHF in terms of being in or around this daily EMA and also a weekly area of interest. Weekly area of interest, daily area of interest, whichever one you want to call it. We basically already had a weekly push or pullback. Now we're waiting for a weekly and daily continuation. So for this one, I would like to see, so here we have 4-hour time frame already shifted bearish. This is good to see. Realistically, all we need is a 4-hour pullback to continue to sell. What do I mean by 4-hour pullback? I mean we have this indication that we're going to sell, right? The indication is the shift to structure below this point. Now all we need is the correction, and then we have the continuation. So lower low, head and shoulders, continuation to the downside. That's all I'll be looking for. And anything below like this point right here, we'll be able to sell pretty comfortably as well. So I think that's kind of the idea that I'm going to be looking to trade. This is going to be a market that I'm interested in, as well as CAD CHF. Obviously, we're already in the trade. Euro CHF, going to be looking for sells. Let's actually add a note on this one. Waiting for the 4-hour lower high to enter on the way to the 4-hour lower low. Or in short, 4-hour pullback to sell. Okay. So that will be one of the things. So Freddie added this new the new notes feature here. There's a few new things that he added to the TCT. So I'm still there's some of them are new to me, some of them I haven't been able to utilize fully. In fact, I'm not sure if I have the most recent version. I think there might be one version that's more recent than this one. Anyways, let me plug my phone into, there we go. Anyways, that basically covers Euro CHF. Now onto the other CHF pairs. Weekly time frame on GBP CHF. This one doesn't look as appealing as some of the other ones. This actually kind of sucks because if this is going to have a pullback, it would suck to see all the other CHF pairs have a pullback as well. Daily time frame, kind of struggling here a little bit. I think that price could easily actually have a continuation from here. We have somewhat of an area of interest. If you want to call these three structures a daily area of interest, they are one. So you have your daily area of interest. You have price kind of trading above this area or EMA. If you were going to take sells, you'd probably want to see price retest the daily area of interest and shift below this 4-hour structure. Now, the 4-hour time frame is currently bearish on this pair, so this could possibly happen very, very easily. Not my favorite of the CHF pairs right now. Euro CHF is definitely my favorite, but GBP CHF could have a continuation to the downside. All we would need is a daily wick to the upside and then a actual body to the downside. I think that's very, very possible for GBP CHF. Just waiting for a retest of daily area of interest to sell. Okay. Next is AUDCHF. Also one of the better looking pairs right now. Weekly time frame is currently bearish all the way down to this point, so we don't have to worry about that. Daily time frame is also currently bearish. So we tried to break above this structure point. We were unable to. So price already reacted to the downside. I guess one thing to consider is the fact that price does usually have another retest after we have the initial reaction. We have another retest and then sell. So there could be that sort of pullback on the daily time frame. In order to avoid getting caught in something like that, we would just have to monitor the 4-hour time frame and make sure that it stays bearish. So as of right now, it is bearish down to here. If price breaks bullish and breaks above the 4-hour EMA, there's a chance that we kind of trade like this until we eventually shift and sell exactly the same way we did right here. So we were below, then we broke above. So at which point did price? Yeah, so it's basically as soon as price shifted bullish. So we were bearish. Here we went bullish, retested EMA, sold, pullback, pullback. We never broke above this candle until right here. And as soon as we did, we actually traded bullish for a while. And then finally we sold underneath the EMA and underneath all of the previous structures. So that's kind of exactly what I'll be looking for. Just waiting for price to either react to the downside here or break above and then eventually break back below. AUDCHF is one that I will be looking at also very carefully and most likely trading as well. USDCHF weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. This is one that I don't think that I'm going to trade simply because I don't like the fact that we have 2 time frames in sync to buy. I understand that it's also a CHF pair, so it'll probably end up following all of the others. But since we don't have those 2 time frames, I'm not even going to worry about it. We're moving on to the next. Unless the daily shifts, but the daily's all the way down here. Same with the weekly. So it's one of those you'll have to kind of evaluate for yourself and make that decision. For me, it's not worth it. We're above the EMA pretty far, and overall market structure is turning around. We had a nice push. We slowed down. Now I think we're turning around for some more short-term buys. Now the weekly did close with a nice rejection. In fact, next week we might open, push down, close down here, and next thing you know, we're looking for sells again. So could be that simple. Onto the CHF or onto the JPY pairs. We'll move all of these into one line and evaluate them all. So weekly time frame on CHF JPY is bullish. Daily time frame is currently bearish. We created a double top on the daily time frame. 4-hour time frame is currently bearish as well. Here, I do expect a continuation to the upside. Unfortunately, we don't have 2 time frames in sync, and we're also underneath the 4-hour EMA. In order to take buys, I'd like to see the 4-hour shift bullish, then pull back into the EMA, and then we'll be able to take some buys. But until that happens, I don't think I'm going to be interested in buying, and I also don't think I'm going to be interested in selling, simply because it's not something that I like to see. Now we are, I guess, kind of in the middle of a weekly pullback. So if you're interested in selling, I would just wait for proper confirmation of rejection of the double top, of the neckline, and of the EMA. All right, GBP JPY weekly time frame bullish, daily time frame bullish, reacted from the EMA, and I think we're just going to see price continue to push up We never got the lower low like I was hoping for. Price kind of just pulled back, pulled back, pulled back. Now we are starting to see bullish price action. Unfortunately, this doesn't look very tradable to me unless we get, I guess you could be patient and wait for a pullback into these previous structures to potentially buy. But we don't have a daily area of interest. We don't have a weekly area of interest. We're kind of just trading from the middle of nowhere. So as of right now, I'm not interested in that. AUD, JPY, weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is currently bullish. Pullback into the EMA. 4 hour time frame, same exact thing. 4 hour time frame is currently bullish, actually. Lower low, higher high, pullback. Yeah. So it does seem like we will be having a bullish continuation. What I would like to see is something like this, where we broke above the EMA, retested, bought, and just continued to buy. Right now, I think we're going to get that first little retest, and then we might confirm that the buyers are in control, pull back, and then confirmation and continuation. So, as of right now, in order to trade with the trend, weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish. We should be looking for buys. So realistically, just a nice. So we already broke above the EMA, but continuation, retest, and then continuation. That would be what I would look for. Am I interested? I'm not sure this one. I might have to come back to this one. Okay, so interesting. Weekly time frame, bullish. Daily time frame, bullish. 4 hour time frame, bullish. Okay. So here the 4 hour time frame just shifted bullish with the last weekly candle. We already have a daily reaction candle at the daily area of interest. I've already switched them out because I can see how this one's much better fit for our trading setup. Yeah, realistically, I would just wait for a break and retest above the 1 hour EMA, similar to the way it did here, similar to the way it did here, similar to the way it did here. Exact same thing. Break and retest above the 1 hour EMA and buy. And these buys you could probably hold for a good long time, at least into the daily EMA. Next target would be the daily area of interest, and then obviously way higher as well. So yeah, NZD JPY going to be looking for buys. USD JPY, we already went over this. I think we went over this. USD JPY. I think this is going to be a good one too. Weekly time frame, very bullish. Daily time frame had a pullback into previous structure, created a daily reaction candle. 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame had a shift the structure to the downside. So we're currently bearish on the 4 hour time frame. But we are creating a double bottom on the 4 hour. almost breaking above this air or EMA. Sorry, I think this is the situation we're looking at right now. So this looks exactly like this, where price pushed into the EMA very aggressively, created a double bottom, broke above the EMA, retested these previous structures, the neckline, and then had buys. Exact same thing, push, pull back, buys. Going to be interested in that as well. Euro JPY. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. Retested this area of interest. I mean, with a wick. It didn't even fully retest it. It just took off. Look at this. Shift the structure, push, pull back, retest previous structure, and continuation. I think this one's a little bit far gone for us. We're like halfway to take profit. So this one, not interested in. CAD JPY is the next one. CAD JPY weekly time frame is bullish. I think we kind of already went over this one. Daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is now I think it's bullish. Nope. Still bearish. Is it? Oh, it's like exactly the same. I mean, I would basically count that as bullish. Lower low, higher high. I mean, realistically, price will probably push higher, pull back, retest previous structure. Pattern. This is the neckline. You have your EMA and then continuation to the upside. Same exact thing as all the other JPY pairs. This one, you can see already had a strong reaction. Look at the ones that we picked. The ones that we picked, they don't have strong reactions yet. They're still on their first leg. So they have a lot more potential. The ones that we didn't pick, I mean, I guess CHF JPY is not that bad. Like here, you have your double bottom. This could count as the retest, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so this probably counts as the retest of the neckline of the double top or of the double bottom, excuse me. So you have your double bottom right here on your 4-hour time frame. And then price came back, retested. I mean, it could technically retest again and then have a continuation. That could be nice to see. But if these CHFs are going up, or if this CHF is going up with the JPYs, then the CHF should go down, if that makes sense. Because this is CHF pair and this is pair CHF. All right, so we've gone over the JPY pairs. Let's go over other pairs here. All right, so USD CAD weekly time frame, currently bullish. Daily time frames having a pullback, also currently bullish. We've just retested previous structure. So this is our indication to buy. This is our correction. Now we're just looking for the continuation, retesting the 4-hour EMA. If we can get a nice bullish engulfing candle out of here, I wouldn't be surprised if there was just a continuation that happened. Realistically, I'm not a huge fan of the area we're in right now. I do think that we should get a continuation upwards, but to see like a daily doji or something here would be nice as well, like just a reaction candle and then potentially catching buys the next day. So we could add this to our list and then in the notes say waiting for. So here we're waiting for a 4-hour pullback. We had our 4-hour pullback. Now we're waiting for daily rejection candle. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what I'm about to ask Freddie what those features are. Okay, so CAD, we already went over that one. USD CAD. Okay, so GBP NZD. GBP NZD, weekly time frame, bullish, daily time frame, bearish, and I mean, wow. 4 hour time frame, bullish. Yeah, price just took off. Now we kind of knew that this was going to happen, simply because we had this weekly pullback into previous structure. We even created an area of interest just now. This area of interest no longer needed. Uh, I mean, there's nothing to say about this anymore. Price is already basically gone. If you look at the way price here trades, look at the way it traded right here, look at the way it traded here, especially right here. It does the same thing. It basically sells aggressively underneath the EMA and then starts to buy back very slowly until we break above the EMA. Then you get that red candle right there, red candle, and then the rest is history. Price just breaks above the next high, similar to the way we're about to break above this high. Realistically, not interested anymore. I think Alex had that for sells last week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so he had it for sells last week. I just changed it to buys. AUD CAD, AUD CAD weekly time frame is bullish. Yeah, weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish. We're currently retesting the EMA. From here, I do believe we should get a reaction to the upside. And the 4 hour time frame is currently bearish. So would be nice to see price break above this area, confirm that we're going to be buying. But at the same time, it almost seems like we're a little bit late to the party if we wait that long. So this one will have to be up to your discretion and risk tolerance. I'm not going to be interested in this one, but I do think we should get that bullish continuation. Euro GBP weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is having a daily pullback. Excuse me. And so we have this daily EMA right here. Not the daily EMA. We have this daily area of interest and EMA. And I think that price should pull back into this level and then push higher. That's still what I'm waiting for. That is what I will continue to wait for. This will probably happen this week. I could see us pushing down to here this week and then next week getting the push, or we're going to open and instantly push down to here, create a wick to the downside, and then close with a bullish candle. That is a possibility as well. So I'll just add this waiting. Actually, it's not going to happen in one day, and we do this every single day. So we're just going to say we already have our note and it says that we're waiting for price to reach that area of interest, and we're still going to wait for that to happen. We'll be back tomorrow to reanalyze what price has done. Euro GBP or Euro USD, excuse me, weekly time frame is bullish. I think that we have reached the bottom of this pullback. We have a reaction candle. Daily time frame is still underneath the EMA, but there's a difference between this pullback and the one we're having right now. The one we're having right now is a little bit more aggressive. I think we might be able to break above the EMA and have a bullish continuation, although that is not guaranteed. We did break above the 4 hour EMA, and as long as we can maintain price action above it, we should be able to continue to buy, pull back, so on and so forth. So from here, we'll watch price come up to here, react from the EMA, pull back into this area right here, and then have the push. It'll basically ping pong between the daily and 4 hour EMAs until we decide which direction we're going to go in. weekly time frame bullish, daily time frame bearish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bullish. Therefore, with two time frames in sync to buy, I think I'm going to be interested in buys over sells. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. All right. So we have GBP USD. GBP USD on the weekly time frame is bearish, but we have reached this weekly EMA, currently pulling back into the EMA, into the neckline, into the area of interest. Daily time frame. Wow. Daily time frame is currently bearish, waiting for the daily pullback into the area of interest to sell. I think that's all really for this one. 4-hour time frame has gone bullish. So realistically, I would like to see a little bit more happening here. I do think that we might have actually reached the bottom of this pullback and we might be seeing a bullish continuation, although that is not guaranteed. I think that on the higher time frames, we should continue to see selling. Yeah. On the higher time frames, I do think that we should continue to see selling. So we'll just wait. We're just going to wait for price to pull back and then see what it does up here. As of right now, I'm not interested, but I don't hate the idea. I just think that it would take a little while to happen. And by a little while, I mean we're about to break above the 4-hour EMA, probably going to trade upwards above the 4-hour EMA. And then when price slows down, shifts and sells, at that point, will we be interested in this trade? And considering the fact that we only get 6 4-hour candles a day, this could take many, many days. Did I do the math right? 6 times. Yeah. I feel really tired right now. My brain did not rest. Okay. Next is, yeah, so this will take a few days. We're not even going to worry about that right now. NZD CAD. NZD CAD. Incredible move happening right now. Honestly, kind of salty that we didn't get in on this one. That was swift. Very clean. You can see how price broke below this level right here. It broke below this level, corrected, and then sold. Very clean, very quick, very easy. To illustrate how we could have even gotten in on this. Basically, I think at this point we sold, so we created our head and shoulders, sold, retested the neckline, doji continuation. At any point right here, you could have realistically entered. Either tight stop loss above the area of interest, about 20 points, or extra large, 40 points. You're still walking away with a 1 to 3. I mean, disgusting. Great trade overall. Nothing to trade right now. Waiting for a daily pullback into the weekly area of interest, which is previous structure and all of that good stuff. So yeah, just waiting for that weekly pullback to happen. Could take multiple weeks. Not interested right now unless you want to take a counter trend trade if that sets up. Euro CAD. Euro CAD weekly time frame. Let's see what's going on here. Weekly time frame is bearish, broke below this structure point. Daily time frame is currently bullish. Now, it is bullish, but I do think that overall, I think the sellers are going to take over here. At this point, let's see. Yeah, so here we go. We have this structure point right here, price broke below. I mean, maybe, let's see. Shift the structure, lower low, pull back. So there's two levels that you could realistically take this trade from. Underneath this level or underneath this level. This one is obviously safer because you have the EMA that you've broken underneath. I think that there's going to be two opportunities to take this trade. The one that's setting up right now is going to be a little bit riskier. It's going to be a pullback into previous structure to sell. And then the second opportunity will be a pullback into the EMA to sell. So I think that's exactly how price is going to set up over here for the sells, trading with the weekly time frame, not with the daily time frame, and currently also not with the 4-hour time frame. This is a bit of a riskier move, but considering the fact that the weekly time frame is currently selling and there's so much empty space, overall, I think we're going to shift underneath this daily EMA. Unless we just get a nasty reaction to the upside, which I suppose could happen. We could just get caught in some kind of sideways consolidation, but I really don't think it's going to. I think we're just going to break below the EMA and continue to sell on those other time frames. That's not necessary there. We have a daily area of interest where we are. So realistically, I see price just creating a pullback candle like this, pullback wick, and then bearish candle like that. So this is going to be one that I am interested in, Euro CAD for sells. It is a bit of a counter trend trade, but I do like it quite a lot. Next is, we already went over this one, Euro NZD. Euro NZD weekly time frame bullish, just created a higher high. Daily time frame is currently bullish, just created a higher high. Now, that being said, I'm already not interested in this. I'm going to wait for a daily pullback into at least this daily previous structure. If not, then this whole entire area would be basically free game. This is the last time sellers were in this market on the daily time frame. So it wouldn't be surprising to see price pull back, retest this stuff right here, retest this previous structure, and then continue to buy from here. So that would be my outlook on Euro NZD, AUD NZD, same exact stuff right there. Weekly time frame created a higher high, daily time frame also higher high. 4-hour time frame is just slowly but surely trading upwards, really with no end in sight there. But it's going to come back, and when it does, we will catch it on that retest for a continuation to the upside. All right, GBP CAD. This is one we've been analyzing for quite a while together. Finally got that weekly rejection off of the EMA. From here, I do believe price should trade back up to the top of this channel. As you can see, we've been bouncing around in here for quite a while. We are currently underneath the daily EMA, but guess what happened? We created a daily double bottom. So the daily time frame did shift bullish. What just happened? Well, we just retested this previous structure on the daily time frame, retested this EMA. I mean, this is beautiful. Retest to buy at the very minimum to there. 4-hour time frame has shifted bullish. So the 4-hour higher high, higher low for the next higher high. That's pretty fantastic right there as well. Yeah, that one's good. That one's real good too. I just don't like the way price slows down. I mean, look at this. We might get a clean move up, but as soon as we break above this EMA, there gets a point in the market where it takes a pullback, like it slows down quite a lot, pulls back, and then eventually has a push up. So if you're interested in like holding a trade for multiple days, then this is a great trade for you. And realistically, I do think this could have a nice quick move to the upside. I think it could happen in 2 to 3 days. But just understand that there's a possibility that we get caught in a bunch of BS on our way up there. Um, Next, we talked about this. We talked about this. GBP AUD, weekly time frame, bullish, daily time frame, bearish, and daily time frame created a lower low. Actually, daily time frame is bullish. So daily time frame lower low, shift the structure, so we're bullish. Daily time frame is bullish from here to here. 4-hour time frame has broken above, retested the EMA as I had marked up, and should now have a continuation to the upside. Am I interested? Probably not. Probably not interested in this one. As of right now, potentially, I don't know. Not interested. We're not even going to worry about it. Same with this one. Already can tell I'm not going to be interested. Just don't like the market structure. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is underneath the EMA, still bearish, and 4-hour time frame is above the 4-hour EMA. Not really the cleanest market structure in the world. There's not a huge amount of continuation available here to the upside either. A daily push and pullback would be nice to see. However, we already have so many other pairs that I'm not even going to worry about it. Now let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to be trading. Here it's going to be, I think we already talked about this one. 4-hour. What is going on? Reload my page. Okay, so for there it is. New updates. Sick. Okay, so Euro CHF, we have a 4-hour pullback to sell. This one's going to be a 4-hour pullback to sell. Okay. Next is going to be GBP NZD, 4-hour pullback to buy. Now notice that we don't have to wait for a break and retest because we already broke market structure. Now we're just waiting for the retest, which is just a pullback. This one does need a break and retest, so break and retest above the neckline of the double bottom, so above 4-hour double bottom neckline. Okay, so that's going to be that one. It is a break and retest. After that, we have USD CAD waiting for a daily rejection candle. So this could take a day or so. Here we're waiting for a 4-hour break and retest above area of interest. Four-hour break and retest above area of interest. That would go that would go there. EuroCAD. EuroCAD is going to be one that's a little bit more difficult to navigate. This one's going to be like a 1-hour pullback to sell. So 1-hour pullback to sell. Basically retest a previous structure to sell there. This one's going to go closer to the top of the list. And then GBP CAD, excuse me. GBP CAD 4-hour pullback. Now, when I say 4-hour pullback to sell, don't just wait for the pullback and then hop in. Obviously, wait for the continuation as well. Sounds good, man. I'll catch you later, man. Have a good one. I will post this shortly, but this is basically everything. Dude, what is wrong with my voice? That is awkward. Okay. Needed a sip of water. All right. So this is basically it. Let's go through one more time. EuroCAD waiting for a 1 hour pullback to sell, 4 hour pullback to sell, 4 hour pullback to sell, 4 hour pullback to buy. Break and retest above the 4 hour to buy. Break and retest above the 4 hour to buy. USD CAD daily rejection candle. So that could take a day or so to form. And then 4 hour pullback to sell. Why would it say sell? This one's 4 hour pullback to buy. Yeah, that would be a 4 hour pullback to buy, which would go alongside these other ones right here. Pullback to sell, pullback to buy. Break and retest, break and retest, break and retest, and daily doji. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for the next 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, my analysis will change as the week passes on. And I will see you guys in the next call, hopefully tomorrow. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.